Hi, my name's Diana Hawk, and I'm the Leadership and Development Manager at the Students' Union. And I just wanted to talk you through our Thinking of Standing presentation. So, we ran a few of these events, but I realized that not everyone could attend them. So, we thought we'd put some slides and some voiceover online, and I hope you find it helpful. If you have any questions, you can contact me at su.elections. We've got the email address written on the very last slide. So, you can send me an email and I can meet up with you, have a chat, go over anything in the presentation that maybe wasn't quite clear. Or if you have any additional questions, I'm happy to answer them. In terms of what I'll cover now in the next few minutes, I'll go over a bit of context about the roles, some of the positions which are available, information about why I think you should stand, and then some logistical support on how to actually submit your nomination, as well as some key dates about what's next, the training and support that's available. And as I said, my email address for how you can ask any questions. So, just to give you a bit of context about the Students' Union, we're one of the largest, one of the oldest, one of the best well resourced student unions in the country. We've got 70 full time permanent members of staff, a ton of student staff to work with and support our huge sabbatical team, and the hundreds of elected student officers that we have. And if you include academic reps as well, we've got 1,500 of those. So, there's a big group of resources. We elect student officers twice a year, so we have elections in the autumn as well as in the spring. So if you don't see your role on the list, it might be because it's elected in the autumn. So in terms of what you can achieve, there's basically two elements. The first is that you might have your own ideas for change, and they're ideas that you might put in your manifesto, which we'll go over in a minute. You might think, for example, I want to be the international students officer because I definitely know how to improve the experience of international students. I've got my own ideas for what I want to change, and that's great. But we also want you to know that as a representative, as an elected officer, you'll get to help shape decision making at UCL. So you might sit on some committees and work with staff and try and get some changes done in that way. So some examples of what officers have achieved. So historically, international fees increased year on year, and there was a part-time international students officer who was able to help lobby the university. And now the university has fixed the fees. So from next year, an international student who begins their course will pay that same amount their second year and their third year, which wasn't the case. So that's a huge win. Our zero tolerance initiative was proposed by our women's network and brought to senior management team by the women's officer. So that had huge involvement from a committee, which we'll talk about the committee positions which are available, as well as from a sabbatical officer position. So the final example I want to give you is the fact that our postgraduate students officer heard from a number of part-time students that they couldn't get travel discounts and they felt that was unfair. So our postgrad officer took this to like the London Mayor's office, met with TfL, met with the GLA and some elected London officers to try and campaign for a flexible travel card. So there's huge opportunities not only to influence within UCL, but also outside the university as well. And we can connect you to those opportunities. In terms of the positions which are available, we have 7 sabbatical officer positions, and the rest of the positions listed are all part-time, but we've distinguished the 17 positions which sit on Union Council, and I'll explain what that is in a moment. We've got 8 different sections. We've got liberation sections and academic sections, which are electing committee members. We have over 200 club and society presidents and treasurers. So some of those will be elected online, and some of those will be elected at AGM. So your best bet, if you're interested in a club and society position, is to check with your current president or treasurer and find out about your elections there. So the 7 sabbatical officers here are listed. If you want to find out a bit more about what they do, you can register to shadow an officer. So there's a form that's on the website. It's studentsunion.org/leadership, and you can fill in a bit about shadowing the sabbatical officers there. There's a few officer positions here which you would need to self-define into, so BME and women's. Otherwise, aside from you'd have to be a postgrad, aside from the others, you can stand in any of those positions. So our part-time officer positions, these are available to students who are continuing their study next year. So sabbatical positions, you can, even if you're in a final year, run for those. But the part-time officer positions, you need to be a student next year. So these are just some of the ones that are listed. So as I said, there's 17. For the full list, you can go to the website, studentsunion.org/leadership. And for all of these positions, you can click more about the roles down at the bottom, and you can read the position profiles. It's sort of like a job description for each of these roles. So in each of these positions, you can job share. You can share the role with one other person, and to make sure I'll talk you through the nomination form how you do that, but obviously make sure that you've agreed it with this person. You can also only put in one nomination for a sabbatical position or a part-time officer position. So you can run for, say, arts officer and community relations officer. So you can only run for one of these positions as well as one of the sabbatical officer positions. So I mentioned that these positions sit on a union council, and I just wanted to explain why that's sort of important. So if you think, for example, about LGBT students, on the right-hand side, the LGBT students are represented and supported by the LGBT plus network. So the LGBT student officer, they convene the network, they run the network, and they sit on union council. So each kind of constituent of students has, most cases, sort of a network or a group, and then the student officer represents the students at union council. So union council is important because it's the main policy making body at the union. So we have general assemblies and referenda as well, but they haven't reached core seat. We haven't had enough votes for those to be actually made into policy. So in practice, union council is the body that policy gets made. So some examples of policy can be really tangible things that can shape like what we sell in our shops, in our cafes. But we also pass policy to boycott the NSS, so the National Student Survey. So if you're interested in influencing things via policy, then you've kind of got to be on union council. Although any student can submit a motion, submit policy to union council, you've got to be an elected officer to vote on that policy. So our section committees, these are liberation ones. We've got the Black Minority Ethnic Network, Disabled Students Network, LGBT Plus Network, and the Women's Network. So each of these committees will have a number of positions like secretary, social secretary, treasurer, positions like that. And these are all elected, and all of these positions have profiles, which you can read on again on the website, find out more information about them. We've also got academic section committee, so international students, and within that you've got like the EU officer position, the event officer, RUMS, which is our medical school position, a number of like vice presidents, CEAS, and School of Pharmacy also have committee positions which are elected in the spring, so you can find out all about those on the website. The section committees, they don't have to sit on union council, so they don't have that extra responsibility. And the time commitment, because a lot of people ask about that, is sort of dictated by the committee itself and the activity that's run within it. So it couldn't be a very big commitment, or if the committee is very active and runs a number of events and you're the events officer, it might be more of a commitment. So you might want to talk to the current committee members to find out a bit more about it. In terms of why you should stand, I guess this is sort of in the actual presentation, we'd ask you about why you're interested in standing and what you think you can achieve. But certainly some of the things that we think you'd get out of it is the ability to make changes and influence decisions, to gain some skills. We give you a ton of training, tons of experiences. You get to attend national conferences, national events, meet a ton of people, and I just wanted to emphasize as well that there's tons of skills that are gained through the elections process. So this experience gives you a ton of opportunities to practice networking, public speaking, time management. Even if sometimes people say, oh, I don't know if I should commit to the elections process because what if I don't win? Well, even in that process, I think you're gaining a number of skills, and we've talked to a lot of students who've said this has been the best part. Like, even if I don't win, I've learned a lot in this experience. So in terms of actually submitting your nomination, these are available now to submit on the website studentsunion.org/leadership, and then you can click on submit your nomination now, or the exact link that will take you to the nomination form is that one just below. Nominations close at noon on the 19th of February, and we've given you, and this is the first time we've done this, a few extra days if you want to submit your manifesto, if you want to make amendments to it. So you can actually amend on the website once you've submitted, but if you've thought, actually, I want to change something about my manifesto, you can email su.elections by noon on the 21st, and we will publish your amended manifesto. So if you were to log into the website, and you'll have a list of positions here. The first thing to notice above the position box is the elections rules. So our elections rules are governed by our bylaws, which can be a little complicated to read. We've provided you a document which you can click on in the hyperlink, and it summarizes our election rules, and it has the different categories. So I definitely recommend reading through those. In fact, before you submit your nomination, you're agreeing to the fact that you have read through those. Once you log in, you'll only see the positions of which you're eligible to submit a nomination form. So unless you self-define as BME, you wouldn't be able to see the BME officer position. Unless you're a student in the School of Pharmacy, it wouldn't let you submit a nomination for the School of Pharmacy. If you think there's a mistake, that it's not letting you submit a nomination, but you're definitely eligible, then you need to send us an email as soon as you can, and we can look into it. So if, for example, we take the activities officer and we want to submit a nomination, I've logged in, and it should auto-populate your name and your email. The first box will allow you to submit your campaign materials. So this is if you're a part-time or full-time position, so one of the union council positions or sabbatical officer position, it'll give you the same form roughly. The section committees and club and society positions, which are online, have a much simpler form. So everyone will be able to submit a manifesto summary. Now this summary is really important because it's what students will see on the actual voting form. So you'll see that manifesto summary next to your name. Manifesto document is the poster which you can actually submit, and there will be a hyperlink, but not everyone will click on that. So the manifesto summary, I'd say, is key, but obviously the poster document as well, because we'll help you print those, put them up around the union, and obviously you can use it as the poster as well. So here's some examples in the past of some of our manifestos. We're running a manifesto workshop, and you can see as well, like, because we'll go on to this in a minute, on Katie Kakino's manifesto you can see who she's supported by, and on Sahal's as well you can see seconders. So it's really important that all of these people are listed in your nomination form. So you can't list them on your poster unless they have been submitted on your form. So I'll show you that in a minute. So as well as other campaign materials, it will ask you if you want to upload a website, so URLs. This could be your Facebook page or a blog or something. It's totally optional, not everyone does it, but if you want to do it, this is the opportunity to submit it. So obviously you can make your own website later, not at the stage of nominations, but it basically means that won't be on our website. So anything that you submit your nomination form will be on our website. Anything else we won't be able to put when people vote, they won't be able to see it, if that makes sense. So you should upload a photo if you choose, and we'll have that. So you'll have your name, your photo, and the manifesto summary is what everyone will see, and then hyperlinks to your manifesto document and your website and other things if relevant. So it's optional as well to submit a video, 30-second YouTube video if you want. We've had people do that before, so you can look at campaign videos online on YouTube as well to see what other people have done in the past. So once you scroll a bit down on the nomination form, you'll see the opportunity to submit supporters. So these are the ones that Katie and Sahal had listed on their manifestos. And you can submit up to 10. And you need to put their email addresses because they'll get an email confirmation to say you were a supporter in case they've actually thought, no, I'm not. And then they can let us know. So add up to 10 there, and there's more information about restrictions because someone who, for example, is in the position cannot support you if you're going for that same position. So the current international students officer couldn't support anyone who's standing in that position. So that's all listed in our election rules document. If you're doing a job share, so again, this is only for part-time positions, you can't do a job share for a sabbatical position. This is the space on the form where you would list who is doing that with you. So we just need their name, their email, and their phone number, and we'll contact them. So that's it. Once you get to the bottom, you submit your form. As I said, there's no way to make amendments, so anything that needs changing by the manifesto deadline, you'd have to email to us. In terms of what's next, so if you've missed this, don't worry about it, but we're having a meet and greet. It's the first time we're doing this in the Print Room Cafe, and it's just an opportunity for students to meet other students. We publicise it to our reps and to current club and society presidents and treasurers to come along, meet people. It's an opportunity to kind of solicit some endorsements. Obviously, you're welcome if you miss the event to contact people and have chats with them and try and do that on your own. It's the first time we've tried to run an event like this, so hopefully we'll do more of those things. We're also running a number of manifesto writing workshops, so we'll cover content and as well as like hints and tips for like styling and making a good manifesto. And then campaigning workshop, that will be really important and really good, and we'll go over lots of different tips and give you some data about what's worked for other people's campaigns. So book onto any of those by emailing su.elections@ucl.ac.uk, and that email address will be at the end of the screen as well. Some other key dates, just to emphasise as well, when nominations close and the manifesto submission, you have to attend on the 22nd in the evening the candidates briefing and our declaration of nominations. If you know in advance you can't make it, you can send someone else to collect some information, or I can meet with you afterwards at a different time, but you have to let us know in advance if you can't make it, because it is a compulsory thing that you have to attend. Our campaigning starts a little bit after then, so you can't campaign beforehand. There's rules about that which are outlined in the elections rules guidance document. For our full-time positions only, we have a hustings event, and I'll let you guys know a bit more about that at the candidates briefing. Voting's open from the 1st to the 8th of March, and then our results announcements will be for our full-time and those union council positions only. The next day we'll have all our section committee announced online. So if you have any questions, please email su.elections@ucl.ac.uk and I will get back to you. And I'm happy to meet with you, as I said, and go through any of this information in more detail. So good luck, and I hope to see you at some point, and I hope you submit your nomination. Thank you.